Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Are we
Sorry,
here?
I can still hear the music.
I felt left out because you always get to hear the music long after I do.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Well, we're here. We're here again.
Yeah, yeah.
Three days in a row. Are you
I
sick of my
know.
face yet?
No, but everybody else might be sick of us.
I think people went from like, I really miss them. They were gone for a whole week to like, could you guys shut up?
Again.
Yeah, I'm like you have to talk again about other things. Although I have to say, last night's crap closet was, you know, the
Indeed.
the
Yeah,
highlight.
I think the crap closet might indeed be like
Do
it's the thing to beat, I guess.
Yeah, like if we do, one of those kind of like intro videos of like who we are and what we do, like should that be one of the clips? Like, can we
Closet.
call the White House and have them look in the crap closet? I think that would be very good on.
Yeah. Mary Kay and Barbara already did it, but we can always every few years just call and say, anybody gotten to the bottom of the crap closet?
Well, maybe part of the problem is they weren't using the right language. Like maybe they were just like, "Can you look in your archives?" No, crap closet. Like,
There are no quilts in the archives. I'm sorry. Oh, but you know what? There are two or three in the crap closet. We never thought to look there.
I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
Oh,
Alrighty,
good
well,
times.
we have to get moving because we
Yeah.
have a lot of things to see. I've got a table next to me covered in Mauchline crap. And that's what we're talking about is
Hmm.
is Mauchline Ware. And lots of the sewing stuff is really what we're going to focus on tonight. There's this like
Yeah.
massive range of souvenirs and gifts and things. Stephanie did tell me I have to show at least a couple weird things because the whole reason we're doing this tonight is because I recently purchased, wow, my hair is like so curly in the back tonight. I recently purchased a big lot of Mauchline at an estate sale. Oh man, I should have pulled up a picture of that lot. Like,
That big, yeah, this wasn't a table or something
yeah, it
that
was
was
like a
just,
whole table of stuff. And when the state sale came around and like they were showing pictures and stuff, of course I was showing stuff and some other friends and kind of like, oh, what do you think? And here I am, little naive, little me. I'm like, oh, I should be able to piecemeal that because someone asked me, are they going to sell that as a whole lot? And I'm like, no. Yeah.
I think I asked you that. Like,
You might have, well, if you did, you were one of more than one.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I was like, oh no, I should be able to pick pieces off of that. No, it was the
I
whole
take
lot.
it all.
Yeah, it took me a little while to decide because it was not all. I think what do you think? It was like 50% sewing related, probably with all the
50 or
thread
60%.
boxes.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
there was a lot of ambiguous things in there, like just a lot of those boxes are kind of ambiguous and could be used as for sewing. So,
but I will make them sewing.
yeah, I some of the other things you have are pretty interesting, and I've found even more bizarre things online, but I feel like you have like the lion's share of weird stuff.
Yeah, so Stephanie was like, "Are you going to show any weird stuff?" And I was like, "No, I have so much sewing stuff." And she's like, "You have to show a couple weird things." So,
Yeah.
do we want to start with the weird things? Because I don't.
Yeah, yeah, how about we'll just talk a little bit, like just for a minute about like what is it? Like where does it come
Mhm,
from?
mhm.
Because in the Victorian era, I guess we could just say the 1800s in general, um, like all of these kind of products Industrial Revolution creates all of these products that are available and like you said, souvenirs. So Mauchline Ware is specific to a little town in Scotland called Mauchline. It's part of, I believe, Ayrshire, Scotland.
Mhm.
The town is known, it kind of has a separate fame, I guess, because Robert Burns, the poet, is from right around there. And I think they built some kind of monument to him there. And apparently Mauchline figures into the Scottish Reformation in the 1500s. So it's not like a little hole in the wall. Like it has significant history. Um, and they start making these little wooden doodads. And I think you confirmed that you knew that the factory burned down in the 30s. So
Mhm.
there is like an end
Yep.
to official Mauchline. But when I first started looking at collecting needlework tools, and I would see all of these expensive, interesting looking things, and I couldn't quite figure out like what's what. And so I had heard the words Mauchline, I had heard Tunbridge, and I had heard Treenware. And I was like, what is the difference between all this stuff? So Mauchline, I think, is pretty quickly obvious what it is, and we'll look at the pieces. It uses transfers, and it's a specific type of wood. Do you know what the wood is?
Oh my God. Off the top of my head.
I'm sure it's in your book. I'm sure it's in the
Yes.
book.
Yes. Off the top of my head, do you know off the top of your head or do you mean find it?
Yes, it is
Oh,
sycamore.
there we go. There we go.
It's sycamore wood. Yeah. And so anyway, Tunbridge is in it's like a spa town. I think it's in England. And so they also created little souvenir doodads there, but their stuff is like marquetry. So like
Mhm.
itty tiny bitty little pieces of wood that make like mosaics and stuff. Treenware, I thought was something separate, and it is not. Treenware or treen is just a word that means useful crap made out of wood.
That's the official translation.
Pretty much. It's useful, like useful objects made out of wood. Um, so yeah, that's your quick and easy overview of
Well,
these types of things.
let me just give a little bit more. Um, this production started with snuff boxes, and that
Yes,
was its big
I
claim
read
to
that.
fame. And the major manufacturer that you're most often dealing with is W&A Smith.
Hmm.
The
That's the
beginning
factory that burned down in the 30s.
beginning in the early 1800s. The height of production is the like 1860s. They had roughly 400 workers producing what they keep reiterating, it's souvenirs and giftware. Highly in the needlework tool. Hi, Martin. In the needlework tool section, similar items are made in other areas, especially, I'm hoping I'm saying this right, Lanark. Um,
How long did it take us to find out it was pronounced Mauchline?
I'm still like, if I say Mauchline, I don't care. Ba, 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 ba. So there is other stuff, other manufacturers in the area, and after the whole industry kind of ended, a lot of times now, pretty much almost anything made around there falls under this like big umbrella, like you were saying, with like the Treenware and everything like that. The fire was specifically 1933. And the factory, which is locally known as Boxworks.
Yes, that like yes,
Um,
and that term box work is like another like generic kind of word for like the making of this like these little wooden crafts. But I
mhm.
love it because it's like, yeah, it's charming sounding.
Yeah, there's a little more that I'll mention that's a little more specific later, but like the very first thing, so that you can grab the link, one of the books that I had been looking at is this little one called Mauchline Ware. It's thin. It's got great stuff in it, like picture wise. I put it in the Slack as the small book, Stephanie. Um,
Uh oh, okay. I'm sorry. I was looking on the
I was gonna say,
page.
don't you tell me that I didn't put it in there. But yeah, like it's got great pictures and just like it's just like great for a little overview. Um, and then the other book, which I didn't get super heavily in because it's like a tome, is this one, which is a big hefty book. That's a collector's guide. This is one of those books that you're like, okay, I didn't need to know all of that information. It has like lists in the back of like all the different kinds of stuff, all the different kinds of like subject matter. Like it really goes super in depth. So I grabbed some affiliate links if anyone decides that they want to do a little research or start with this little book probably, unless you want to get crazy.
Yeah, I know you invest in those books because you're selling. I tend to like kind of skip over those books, but that little book, I might be interested in that because
No, the little
there's
book's
so much
totally worth it.
more. There's so much more to Mauchline Ware than I realized.
No,
So,
it's the little book is I'm so worth it. Definitely get it. It's so and it's really affordable. So the big one was pretty affordable too, but again, it's huge. So the couple of weird pieces before we get going into things. And there's more weird pieces, but a couple things I got here were a couple of
the egg
hourglasses.
timer. Yeah, the egg
Yeah.
timer.
And this one is specifically like a Christmas one. On both sides here say, Merry Christmas and stuff. I guess there's kind of like this little sub collecting group of like specifically Mauchline Christmas items. So there's that. Then there's this little Stephanie really liked this one. This little bud vase.
That is so cute. Like I
Yeah.
just I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's cute. Don't
It's
get me wrong.
charming. And I don't know that if I owned that, I don't know that I would put
And
something else in it. I don't know what.
and on here is the uh transferware that's on here is Glen Ellis Falls, but actually it doesn't tell me where that is. So I'd have to look
And
that
I
up.
guess to clarify these transfers that are on here, sometimes they're pretty little pictures like that on the egg timer, and sometimes they are black and white, or I'm sorry, ink like black drawings, like you like a pen and ink kind of drawing of a place, and
So
that's typically where you'd buy that piece is at that place. It's like the souvenir of the
so
place.
and for more vocabulary, we're gonna get like real schooly tonight. So when we've got these inked, drawing places, that's transferware. And
Hmm.
then when we get into some other things that I've got one here where it's a literal photograph of a place, that's
Hmm.
photographic wear.
Yes.
And then we have the ones that are just painted. This goes into quite a few different. No, it doesn't seem to have a specific name for the Christmas stuff, but yeah, quite a few different kinds. You can get like super nerdy about this stuff. And then Stephanie also wanted me to show this. I have two of these, and it's kind of like it's like a goblety type thing. To me, it feels like a bowling pin upside down.
Exactly. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
I
and
feel like
it's
that's an easy shape, I guess, when you're like if you're on a lathe. It's like an
oh
easy
yeah.
shape to turn, I guess, like that sort of bowling pin shape.
And the inside here doesn't go to the bottom. Like it only goes about halfway. And
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have guessed that.
this transferware is pass of kilogranki. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And then it's got a bunch of stuff here on the back as well. And this says Taymouth Castle and Lochte from the Athol Plantations Dunkeld. And then it's got a quote here that I can't. It looks like
I'm gonna
from.
just take a wild guess that you pronounced none of that correctly, but I cannot
Sure,
even begin to help you.
sure. I'm sure I probably did. But let's see. The quote here is oh my God, I can't. Never mind. It's written like in colloquial like language. I'm not even gonna try. Not even gonna try. And then just to kick off some sewing stuff because I didn't take pictures of this one because I'm stupid and I forgot. You didn't even see this one. I did recently bring some of these items to seminar because Stephanie demanded it. Like
And I
she,
have one of them.
yeah, like she threatened violence. I couldn't bring everything to her because a lot of things are repetitive in style. So I was just like, do you want to see 37 thread boxes? Or, so I brought her a little menagerie. But one thing I didn't bring is this. And one reason I didn't bring it is because of just how big it was. And I might keep it for a minute. So I showed you a bunch of thread boxes, right? Here's
Mhm.
a big one. And it's
Oh.
got Greek gods and goddesses on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then all the thread holes are labeled. So this
Yeah.
one says, well, this one says statute registered October 23rd, 1877. Then it says this box manufactured only by the Washington Manufacture Company, Troy, New York.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if this is actually like a copycat of the tartanware.
Yeah, like a knockoff. Yeah. And I
Yeah,
noticed the tartan, I think there are a number of different like tartans.
yeah.
I have noticed and I don't know how many like varieties there were, but I did notice as I was just scanning through general Mauchline kind of stuff that there might have been one that's like the rare Prince, like Prince Philip,
Oh,
you know,
yes, there
or
are some that are more rare than
Prince
others.
Charlie, like that kind of stuff.
Some of them are labeled, some of them aren't. We will see one that's labeled. Okay, so I showed you something you didn't get to see. I actually have something else that you didn't see.
That one is a beauty.
Yep.
My little we'll look at the close-ups, but I can show you my Mauchline collection is right here. All three pieces of it fit in one
Well,
hand.
if you think I found the pieces that I purchased recently when we were together, I did not. So, Mardim, I need you need tartan for me. So let me, okay, what do we want to look at first? Do we want to look at items I have sitting with me, or do we want to look at some internet stuff?
Uh, it does not matter to me. I mean, we could look at internet stuff. We could start with my three little pieces. I mean, you have a lot, so
Yeah, I've got a lot. So let's go through. Okay, let me. Okay, let's look at this stuff first. Is that coming through okay?
think so. Yeah.
Okay, so this would be an example of that black lacquerware. Let me just find, I'm gonna just give you a little excerpt here. In 1861, Great Britain was plunged into mourning following the death of Prince Albert, Queen Victoria's consort. It seems highly likely that the large quantity of Mauchline ware produced with the black lacquer finish relates to this happening, with production continuing for the next 40 years until Queen Victoria's own death in 1901. In all cases, the black lacquer finish was relieved with a more colorful addition, this often taking the form of a transfer printed or photographic view of a floral surround. Other examples carry sentimental verses, while a number of smaller boxes have been recorded with typical Welsh scenes, such as the Welsh wedding, which appropriately for a Welsh subject is enhanced with a spray of lily of the valley.
Oh, very
Yeah,
interesting.
there's some very interesting examples in here. Definitely got the little bugs. So,
And it's interesting to me that the black lacquer was, part of that whole mourning thing,
mhm.
Yet I know one of the pieces in your collection, and I hope I'm not spoiling anything, but in this collection that you purchased says welcome little stranger or something like that, which
Yeah,
is the thing that
that's
they
this
do for
piece.
babies.
Yeah,
And it's one that I've had my eye on, but
yep, that's this piece.
that's so funny that
Yeah,
it's
well, I
like
guess
welcome.
like you're still got to welcome your little bundles even in like times of
I guess
Victorian
so.
mourning. Yeah, that's this little piece right here.
Ah, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so this is like, this isn't potentially a sewing kit type of item. But there's no reason it couldn't be used as one, and it actually came with that little thread spool in there. Um, and one of the reasons why Stephanie didn't see, tons and tons, I have so many of these kind of round or square box situations. Some are definitely thread, some, who knows. So I didn't show her absolutely everyone, although she has seen everyone that you're gonna see right now. So next we've got a square one. And don't you love my little Corticelli spool silk little measure in there?
I do. I'm
Um,
Yeah.
some of these, it's funny. This looks like it's not really at the edge because of the way the box is shaped, but I promise you it's just a perspective issue. I'm not devoid of seeing where things actually fall. That's not the right box. This one is pretty little. It's
Oh, it's
like,
tiny.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's in my hand here. And the spot place on here is Bethlehem, New Hampshire, because there was a very significant export business for this region producing this, and then that's velvet lined in like a red.
And
Not
I feel like most of the sort of souvenir locations in the United States are like sort of East Coast, New England.
Mhm.
Like you know, obviously I have not seen every piece of Mauchline Ware out there, but I feel like I have never seen one that's like, I don't know, Michigan or Oklahoma or you know anything that's like,
I'm not sure. But my
yeah,
guess would be is the reason it would have been so much more expensive to export to those areas
mhm,
since you've got to pay for a
sure,
ground
yeah.
transfer. So I meant to turn this photo. This one is Burns, Mr.
Ah, yes, our friend
Burns.
Robert Burns, the poet.
Yes. So there's a significant amount of the Mauchline produced. Is it like a tribute to him? And the place, the house that they often have on places is Alloway Kirk. And I'm sorry, this one's showing a church. Here's the house. It's called Burns Cottage.
Mhm.
And then for some reason on these particular ones and a couple of other kinds, they put on the back made of wood, which grew on the banks of dune near Alloway Kirk.
Huh.
And that's one of these. So this one is like a hands down, full on a thread container. And it's got the,
With Robert Burns on the lid.
yep, get you some Burns love. And look at that
Yeah,
label on the
I'm trying to
inside.
think like next time I buy a box of thread, I'm going to demand that it has, I don't know, Maya Angelou's picture on the top. Like,
Yeah. Well,
you know, you got to make sure that your poets are presented on your sewing materials.
they were like so big about Burns that they
Uh-huh.
even Mauchlinized his book of works.
Yeah, that I absolutely love. And I'm like, I bless you. Maybe you've got like there's a Robert Burns lover out there who's gonna be ready to snap that up, but I feel like that might be one of the tougher items to sell.
Well, and you know what's weird is like, how come if you're gonna like Mauchlinize his book, why isn't his face on the cover and instead it's that same church, Alloway Kirk? Like, like why is his face on a thread box and not on
But
a
not on his book
big
of
ass
poetry.
book? Yeah, and I mean this has like the gold on the
Hmm.
side here, like, like this thing is some serious there we go, some serious stuff here. Anywho, um, I think I might have three pieces about him of various things. So yeah, here's that writing on the back. Okay, now we got an egg. Stephanie enjoyed this little eggy do.
I love the eggs, and I found a fun egg on that's available for sale on eBay.
Oh,
So it's a little bit different than what you have there.
so this one says State Department Building, Washington. So apparently also
The
some,
State Department building. Hey,
and
Jan.
what happened to me is like, did they buy these as like souvenirs for all their secretaries at the time or
Yeah.
something like that?
Yeah.
Also, I'm such a dumbass and didn't even put two and two together. And out of nowhere, Stephanie and I are talking, and I was like, did they use the egg outside as a darner? Because
I
it's a
don't
kid
see
on the
why they
inside. And
wouldn't
she's
have it.
like, of course they did. And I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't have. I feel like these things, I mean, as a souvenir, you might keep it nice, but I don't see why it wouldn't have been intended that way. Because you see the transfer is on the bottom. The top of it is completely devoid of decoration, right? So that if you
Yeah,
were using that top for darning, it wouldn't. Yeah.
no, that
So
makes
Jan, this was popular. The major factory that made these burned down in the 30s. So it's you're looking at like late 1800s, the Victorian era when this is really popular, like 1860 to 1900.
1860s is the height. Yeah, it started in the early 1800s and then obviously ended in 1930s. I was gonna say too that certain on this transfer where certain locations seem to be more popular or rarer than others. Because Stephanie and I are, we've been taking kind of a deep dive lately into things. There is a whole world out there, but yeah, this is a whole little sewing kit here with, hold your thimble and then you pull that out and I forget if that top is removable or not. Let me see. Um, yeah. So that top, I didn't get a picture of it, but that little top there is removable, whoop, to hold pins.
It's so cute. I
And
love
then
little things like that.
you've got your little thread winders there, the thimbles on the thimbles. Help a girl out here.
I'm not sure. Thread winder, like thimble, pins, needles.
What is thread rolled on?
A spool.
Yeah, that works. Good God. It's funny. Everyone I know that recently went to seminar, they're just brain dead. Like,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And we've had more than a week now to get our words back, but
yeah.
we're not doing a good job. I swear
Oh,
I'm not drunk. I just
Jan says, "It's so interesting. Have not heard of it. Just you wait. You're gonna be
Yeah, and
sick of it."
it's an interesting thing. Like this is a thing that I think if you are not like deep into needlework tool collecting or into this niche antiques market, these are a thing that you could very easily like never learn about unless you go
Yeah,
looking for it. Out of collecting needlework tools, it was quite a while. Like literally this year that I even knew what Mauchline Ware was, and I have been collecting some stuff for a little while.
and
So
then once
yeah,
you start looking at it, you realize that
it's
this rabbit
everywhere.
hole, yeah, this rabbit hole goes deep. Especially because like at a particular point in time, like they really focused on like these small, like useful items. So then this, we're just looking at the top of this other little
This one's
sewing
fun because it
history.
reminds me of a beehive or a little what do you call that? A cloche,
Yeah.
like the little bell that you put over a thing.
So when I was first looking at the picture of this big lot of Mauchline I thought that this from far away was like a salt and pepper shaker. Because the shape and everything really made sense to me. And the place here is Napatri Port, Watch Hill, Rhode Island. And it's an ocean scene. They're like, this is
New
a
Hampshire and Rhode Island, I feel like, are a major destination for these. And I don't know if it's just
yeah.
what I happen to have seen in your like this batch you got, and I know there's a vendor that you and I both enjoy pawing through her stuff. She had a lot of it recently, and I feel like I just like Rhode Island and New Hampshire seem to pop up a lot.
I don't know that I've come across any Massachusetts. But yeah, no, I think you're right. And then yeah, the little top pops off there. And this is another little sewing a tweak. Now, what's interesting is this top comes to more of a point. You probably wouldn't use this as a darner, do you think? It's pretty small.
Nah, and
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think so.
And then obviously, like, let me just go back to that for a second. The little, there was probably be a little screw in here for your needles, which you could still put needles in because the thimble goes over this and then you close it all up. But there's usually something, a stopper there. Now this, Stephanie has begun a love affair with fernware. Um,
And I've
when you
even
get
found a subcategory that is even more fascinating.
Yeah, so there's all these different categories of Mauchline and different kinds of, so the ones we've been looking at so far with the different like inked pictures on them is called transfer wear. Um, this one is fernware, and it used to be thought that fernware was a last attempt to revive an industry in decline. However, there's now evidence that the earliest fern decorated items date from about 1870, when the established transfer and tartan wares were still in great demand. Fernware was produced in smaller quantities than the other main finishes, and it seems that 3, if not 4, different processes were used. Almost certainly, the first fernware was produced by W&A Smith. That was the major manufacturer of all these items. Although it is also manufactured in Lanark at the Caledonian Box Works. It therefore seems likely that different decoration techniques were employed by these two firms. And what's really cute is, you know, those thread balls that you and I were looking at?
Mhm.
There's a picture of a fernware one in this book.
Oh, that's pretty.
Isn't that pretty?
Very pretty. So what I had seen about them, and I don't, it was online, it was not from one of the books, so take it with a grain of salt, but that they actually, one of the processes was that they actually used real pieces like fern leaves,
Mhm.
laid them over the wood, um, used like a dauber or something to color the wood and then lacquered it.
That
But
could
the
make
little
sense
piece,
to me because some of them look so real.
yeah, the little piece I have, they do look so real, but it's so tiny. My little piece, I feel like it's something that, it was originally based on real ferns, but it has become a transfer. And
Mhm.
I mean, we'll show the pictures of my stuff in a minute. I mean, they're so tiny. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Hmm. Mhm.
It would be some very tiny pieces of fern if my little piece was actually done that way. And I don't think it was.
This is another one of those little boxes like the ones we saw before. This is Welcome Little Stranger, so it's like a baby gift of some kind. But fernware is this is kind of like fernware meets black lacquer, because I was like, there's no reason this can't live with the rest of the, black lacquer mourning types
Right.
of wear. And it's just a box inside, so it could be whatever you want it to be. And let me also put out that, like, the ones we're all showing here, this is all stuff that's available if you see something that you fancy, unless Stephanie has, you know
I
spit on
will
it.
not come after you if you want any of the fernware or the little stranger boxes, but just keep in mind that I do have my eye on those.
So
Um,
now I did show a piece
Tartanware.
of tartanware before, um and these also can be, really sought after here. So we've got here, in the early 1840s, the inventive Smiths designed an ingenious machine capable of weaving tartan designs onto paper. The machine employed a series of pens, each using a different colored ink, the result being an accurate representation of the so-called authentic tartans. Before this invention, tartan and plaid decoration was applied directly onto the wooden surface. This process required not only considerable skill and patience, but also a vast amount of time. And without the new machine, the production of tartanware might well have been extremely short-lived. So it was, this finish became tremendously popular, not only in Scotland and the rest of Great Britain, but also in other countries. And there's a whole,
That's interesting. And I had seen when you Google, you'll get little snippets, and I had gotten that snippet about how they invented some kind of machine, but like I could not wrap my head around like what weaving on paper meant. So I guess if it's pens, that I guess probably like make a stripe and then lift up maybe, and then a different, like.
well, it definitely makes sense based on how these wear, because the lacquer, gets dry and the paper starts to like crumble. And I was always kind
Mhm,
of wondering, like, why do these wear so much differently than other ones? And also, like, the tops, they are, like, you can see, like, on here, they're subject much more to like getting scraped and things like
mhm.
that. But these are also like super highly collectible. This is just what you're looking at right there, is just another small container. Nothing super fancy about it. Again, now you can see that there's some scrapes and stuff on it.
Yeah, they're really charming though, you know?
Mhm.
Like I have a friend who collects boxes just because she loves the possibility of there's something in there. So
Yeah,
she looks for pretty boxes, and this is the kind of stuff that I'm like, these are the kind of things she likes. Little
and
little boxes.
quite a few of these are labeled with the clan for the tartan. Not all of them, like this one isn't, but another one that we're gonna look at is labeled. So there's no rhyme or reason to how I'm showing these, by the way. It's just how they're however they're coming up. So this is a little pin keep. That's a little shield. And actually, here we go. We got
And
many.
I'm sort of fascinated by this because I don't know why that shape is so interesting. You know, that shield shape, like
It's the King Arthur-ness in all of us, I guess.
I
But yeah,
guess.
we were just talking about places, and here's one that's Maine, Moosehead
Mhm.
Lake, Maine. Um, these sometimes these uh specialized shapes of you. There's a million pin keeps made out of Mauchline, all different kinds of wares, all different kinds of shapes and scenes and stuff. Like they're just it's
Yep.
bananas. But I recently bought one that's a triangle, like a diamond. Can't find it. That was one of the ones I bought with Stephanie in I think at the Pendragon's Market.
Pen dry goods, yeah.
Yep. But these ones are very cute, and it's just a purple velvet on the side there. Very simplistic, but like a good size. Like here it is in
Yeah,
the
those
in
shaped
my hand.
ones, I feel like that one, and then I know we had looked at some other ones at Pen Dry Goods, our favorite vendor, Karen. She had a number of them, and it seems to me, and I mean, again, like I have not looked at that much Mauchline Ware, but it seems like those odd shaped ones, you know, that have different shapes. There's a heart one that I have my eye on
Mhm.
online. Um, they seem to be bigger. The round ones, yeah,
Yes, they're
it's pretty
smaller. Yeah.
small.
hmm
Yeah, it's the one I have is pretty
hmm
small, so.
Here is a tape measure. Sadly, so I have two tape measures, different shapes. Sadly, the tape isn't coming out the side. So I don't know if it's in there and it got pulled all the way in or if it got pulled all the way out. I'm not sure. Um, but let's see, this one is St. Mary's Church, Low Harrogate. So what is that, like in London, maybe?
That's England. I know, Harrogate. Yeah. Seems like I've heard of Harrogate
Yeah.
in conjunction with London.
So I must say, like, generally speaking, as far as like tape measures can go, I feel like this is a pretty good size
Hmm.
for a tape measure. Like here it is against my hand. Um, but this to me is kind of an odd shape. It's so weird to me when they make really odd shaped tape measures because I'm like, can you imagine like pulling this out of your sewing kit to hem a dress? Like, okay, let me get this, you know, just my
And
two
the
things.
other one, I think the other one you have, it like looks almost like a little butter churn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one of those online as well.
Here it is.
Yeah.
This one is Mount Piskin Plain Switchback Railroad. This looks like it says railroad. Yeah, it says RR. I mean, it is a
Yeah, so
railroad. Yeah, it
yeah,
is a
so some of
railroad.
these like again souvenir places are like they're so weird. But I guess and today, like I think of souvenirs today as like, amusement parks and Niagara Falls and, all these kind of things. And like, I guess destinations where you might pick up a souvenir were just different in the 1800s.
Yeah,
They
like
didn't have Six Flags, like
so far you don't see any that's like, oh, so and so went to this place and all I got was this crappy ashtray. Like,
the Disney, the Disney Mauchline.
yeah. Yeah, this is another one too where the I don't know if the tape is stuck inside or if someone pulled it all the way out, which is a shame. And the other thing too is like that slit is so tiny. I don't even know necessarily how I would try to. I'm sure there must
To
be a
get
way, but
like some tweezers or something in there. Or,
you could not
yeah.
fit tweezers in there.
No, I know. I've looked at it. I don't know.
Yeah, they'd have to be
Yeah.
like hairpin tweezers. Um, Someone mentioned a pin.
Yeah,
I,
that was my thought, but it's almost like without having some kind of visibility in there, you could really be damaging the tape measure in there anyway. So
I'm sure I could pay some kind of person $1 million to like try to get it out. So here's a tartanware. Um, this one is called photographic wear because it has an actual photo on it, and you'll see in a sec. This one's Prospect Point, Niagara. But yeah, along with labeling the the thread there, we've got McLean tartan. It's
ah,
interesting how many different
the
tartans.
Mauchline.
Yeah, and this one's got like this it's like this blue lacquer inside. I don't really know how to describe it. And then in the center there is where you put your little thimble. And then of course the really pretty Clark's label on the inside.
Yeah, I
And
know some
there's
of
our
these that
photo.
you have, the labels are just pristine and really beautiful.
Yeah, and it's really cool to like see that photo, at this point in time. Like I think that's pretty good photography
Yeah,
for
yeah,
for the
absolutely.
time that we're dealing with. Where am I putting stuff? We got this little guy. He's a little thimble case in North Carolina. That's another one that I see a lot of is North Carolina. They
North
must have,
Carolina.
I mean, I'm assuming like North Carolina, Rhode Island, like must have been major ports, probably for commerce. Um,
Yeah, and the pieces I have that have a location are also seaport
mhm.
in Virginia. So yeah.
Yeah. This one's just a cute little bloop. This is another thread box.
That one's really pretty. I like the transfer on the top of that one.
Mhm. This one doesn't have the holes in the side. Um, but it just has a really pretty finish there, along the side. But then we've got a different kind of label on the inside, which is still
I wonder
also
if this was like just a giant spool, like a big fat
or
spool in
it could
there.
have been one of those ones where like all like it fits like 4 or 5 spools, but they're just
Right.
snug in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure somewhere in an advertisement there's like a picture of what it looks like with all the spools in it. I just didn't think to try to grab one of those. Then here's a little pin keep again with
The
Merry
Christmas
Christmas
one.
stuff. But here to show you, because you brought it up, here's the difference in size uh, between the two.
Yeah.
And that side is it. If it was velvet, it's all worn off. It almost feels like leather or like a suede, maybe.
Hmm.
Oh, where'd my cursor go? Oh, is that it? Is that it? Is that it? I think that might be it.
Well, may I switch over and show mine? Mine is going to be very short, and then we can look at some of our links.
Yes, let me. You stopped sharing my screen. Rude.
I didn't, did I?
I, I didn't press stop.
Oh, well,
It must have
I don't
just,
know.
ooh, oh, yours is really cool.
Yeah. So, this, like what you just showed, is a little tiny thimble, a thimble casket.
Mine
And
is,
to,
yours is like so, mine is, the drawing on mine is so dense. It makes it look really,
Mhm.
really dark. Yours is like nice
Yeah.
and bright and,
Yeah. So, this piece and my pin keep are from the same place. Um,
oh,
yeah, and I bought this in the pin keep from the Glee Kruger collection.
that's right.
And they were in very good condition, and this is specifically the Normal Agricultural Institute in Hampton, Virginia.
Hmm.
Which this is terrible. I have yet to see like if what this place is. I'm sure it eventually became something else, like maybe Hampton University. I don't know. But Hampton, Virginia is, right there on the coast. So, in terms of seafaring ports and stuff, it makes sense that this would have been a location. But again, like, I mean, it's like a college, it's an institute. Like, who would buy these things? Is this like, I'm the parent of a agricultural institute. Looky here. You know, they don't have, instead of the bumper sticker, like agricultural institute mom, you get your little thimble case. This little teeny hook enclosure, oh my gosh, this is just so cute and tiny. It is itty bitty. You have to literally use your fingernail to like, you know, grab this little tiny bump on the hook. It's so adorable. And then, yes, I got a picture of the hinges. The hinges are literally stamped with this itty bitty little design. And I think I saw the exact same thing on yours.
Is yours, hold on. I gotta like, are you able to zoom into that?
Hmm.
No, I forgot to grab a picture of mine.
Oh, is yours different?
Mine is one of those kind of swirly hearts like you see on gates. Yeah, mine's
Oh,
totally
see, and
different.
I know I looked at yours, and I guess I just did not having mine with me. I didn't have them side by side.
Yeah.
Um,
Different.
but yeah, to me, I mean, this looks, and this coming from a person with some metalworking experience, this looks like handmade.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is somebody literally had little stamps and they cut this out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then this the inside of it.
Yeah, yours is
I
in
need to
really
find
great shape.
I need to find a special thimble to put in there. So I think my photos now skip over, yeah, so to the little box, and they're not in the right order. But it seems to me like part of this, the process was like they sponged on some of these, like
Mm-hmm.
particularly the fernware,
Mm-hmm.
before they lacquered it. And you could see it looks big in the picture, yet it is not. This thing
Ba
is
Based on some of my reading, I think that your container may have been cosmetics.
okay. Yeah, and
Mhm.
it doesn't look like it's ever been used. Like I mean, the inside is very clean. It doesn't look like it's like scratched or worn at all. But
Mhm.
yeah, it seems like it's for some kind of it's not sewing related, but
But it can be now.
yeah. It yeah, I mean literally like it's like an inch. This thing is an inch wide with
Hmm.
the this little flare on the outside is a little bit bigger than an inch. But that's why I like it so much. It's so cute. Yeah, so you can see my big finger there.
So
But to
just to give
me, this
everybody some perspective, when Stephanie looked at all of these pieces that I dragged to Terrytown, and we kind of had talked about maybe like she could pick something out for her upcoming birthday. This is what she picked. This teeny little tiny thing. You should have seen her like be like, I think I want this one. Like,
but I loved it. It's so cute.
I think it was
But
more
see,
so like, what can I get in my house without anyone noticing?
well, my second choice would have been one of those little stranger boxes, but
Mm.
this like you could see like this is way too tiny to have been real ferns. You know what I mean? Like I could
Unless
see
they're
that.
like little tiny baby ferns.
I guess I don't know. I just feel like that box, the bigger box you have, like that makes sense to me that that might have used real ferns, and then they just, you know, dab, stain or paint or whatever it is they dab over it. But this seems to me like this has got to be a transfer. I'm not. I
Jan
don't
says
know.
it's adorable.
Thank you, Jan. That's exactly why I love it. And then this is the pin keep, and this did not come in the correct order. Um, I pulled some of the pins out just so you could see. And what I realized today when I was photographing this, it had a loop at the top and the loop has been cut off.
Oh.
Yeah, you could see like I think I didn't take the picture from that end, but you could see there's like this little frayed, um, little tiny bit of frayed silk ribbon. Like I think it's like right here, the
Yeah,
top
my
there.
the shield I have has a piece of silk ribbon
Yeah,
in it.
your shield has the ribbon, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, this is the agricultural school again on the pin keep. And
Oh,
that,
I didn't even realize it was also the same scene.
mm-hmm. Yep, exact same thing.
And I know you showed these things to me. I just had no room in my brain to hold them there.
Yeah. But it is interesting. I mean, and you could kind of see like looking at the pin keep and um the thimble holder side by side, I mean, they are exactly the same. It is
Hmm.
clearly, you could see the transfer-ness of it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
so it's an interesting thing.
All right. Well, if you want to stop sharing, I will share again. We're
Yeah.
going to have to Inception for a second, just because I don't have any way around it. Okay. So one of the things I found while I was looking around for stuff is there is a club
Of course
for,
there is.
yeah, for Mauchline Ware. This one is based overseas, but they do have they now have, an American branch. I don't know, so I did try to find like maybe an accompanying Facebook group or something that can keep people in touch instantaneously. I did not find one. There's a couple really tiny ones that are really inactive. They also have a journal.
Oh my goodness.
Um, and they're not showing anything up to date here, but like you can get, like, this is 2018, you can get like sneak peeks at kind of like what kind of stuff pops up in their journal, which I thought was really kind of cool. I mean, I'm sitting here going, that, I don't know, that might be interesting. Also, don't judge my tabs. A lot of them are for you, and the rest of them are my emotional support tabs. So,
All right, so I'm putting in the link to this organization,
oh, I was gonna
Mauchline
say it
Ware.
will be down in the description, but
Yeah.
you're what?
Mauchline
Yeah,
Ware org. Should you have the burning desire to join this minute?
yeah. Yeah, everything that I'm showing I'll have later in the description. Like there is like a members area here, so that might have like a chat or something for them. There's also like a thing here with like useful links. Um, there's like, I know this auction house. There's some other stuff. There's some museums that have like significance amounts. So I always like stuff like this. Oh, look, they've even got a spot here for different finishes that you can, this looks like a pretty all-inclusive encompassing thing here. That was something, if you wanted to
Yeah.
rabbit hole, um, you should try that out. So
Oh yeah.
next,
Oh yeah. Okay, I just found the thing I'm currently obsessed with. I just found all the
oh, there you go. So then also, we won't read this just for time's sake, but when I was just searching stuff, Piecework Magazine, which we've talked about numerous times because
Yeah.
our
And
friend Don
this is
Ronigan
a
has,
really yeah, this is a really, really good article. I pulled this up and realized that
yeah.
you already had it.
Yep. So here's, if you just want, like, because I did show, like this small book, if you were interested in, we did put a link in the description or in the chat. There'll be one in the description later if you want to, it's very tiny if you wanted to just kind of get an overall. But then this article, if you don't want to do the book route, this is a great article. There'll be a link in the description later. Then, I always have to grab some stuff off eBay just because, like we need to look at things to buy. Um, and I always like to show kind of a variety, but here is a really interesting like needle book. Obviously, yes, it's a little rough on the edges there. The transfer is very interesting to me, but the pages aren't
I saw
just
this one.
like, yeah, the pages aren't like the delicate pages of let's say a wool or something that you usually find, which is something I found so interesting. And I found,
It seems to me this one, because I did find this one as well when I was doing some research, and it seems to me either the pages were replaced or somebody came in afterwards and did those crazy whip stitches on the pages. I
I
just have a hard time.
I think they could be replaced too.
Yeah, I have
And,
a hard
and
time
like
believing
kind
that.
of
Yeah.
crudely replaced.
Yes.
I did find
Like the
this like,
seller's like, I gotta get some pages in here.
yeah, I did find this kind of like finish on the side kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't know any reason to think that's original. Because any of the ones I've ever seen don't have anything like that. Um, but I'm open-minded just because we've seen so many different things that it's like I don't know if there's any like rules.
Right, yeah.
But I like for my collection, like I would not scoff at this because potentially the pages are replaced, only because they're so weird and interesting, and we like weird, interesting things around here. So we've got that at a very reasonable price. Actually, the description might even say they're replaced. I when I find these things, I don't, I don't read ahead. Very small. Where do I pay
You know what I
attention?
found interesting as I was looking through like, eBay and Etsy and all that. It seems like there's some pieces that are very affordable,
Mhm.
like for antique things, and then there are some pieces, and I guess it really boils down to the people that like really know about this stuff. The pieces that are probably the more rare ones that are less known are the ones that are like crazy prices. Because I see stuff where like, oh, this thing's like $25. And oh, this thing which kind of looks similar is $325. So I feel like it must be based on the numbers of these things that were manufactured. Um, you know,
Or there all are also just some people that think everything that they
oh,
come into
sure.
contact with is rare.
Absolutely, absolutely. But some of because I was looking at some things that were dealers that are like antique slash needlework tool dealers. So I felt like those were probably accurate or fairly
Mhm.
accurate like values. Um, but yeah, there's just such a wide variety of things. And there's also one thing I would note though is if you're out there looking for these things, just be careful because I think there's a lot of people out there that will call something, Mauchline, Tunbridge, whatever, and it's not. Like I saw some things the other day that were marked like they used all the words in the title. Mauchline, Tunbridge. It's like, no, that's not Mauchline, definitely. It might be Tunbridge, but you have to, it's just like the quilts, a quilt is it's an Amish Mennonite a feed sack depression era quilt. They're like that's not a thing.
I think this piece was really interesting. I haven't seen a piece like this, and then like it comes
Hmm.
with all these like goodies inside. Um,
Yeah, this one you showed me this one the other day and I was like, ooh, it's got 5 days worth of bid left.
yeah, the thing I wonder here is, come on, move up there. I wonder if that pin cushion's replaced. Um, I can't really tell if that's original or not because it just looks too perfect.
Yeah, you're right. It looks like the kind of pincushion that would be in there, but it does look like it's in super duper condition,
Yeah, so I
which
just
is
wonder
a
if
little
that's,
it's a little suspicious.
but I mean, it doesn't, to me, for me personally in my collection, that wouldn't devalue the piece because it's so cool and has a bunch of goodies with it. So yeah, if you wanted to like get your hands wet and kind of like, or get your hands dirty, sorry, and kind of get a little all kinds of something something, this would be a good piece to start on, assuming it doesn't end up going for $1 million.
Yeah,
um
it's currently what is it at currently
32.
$32? Yeah.
Yeah, 32.
I also noticed there's a lot more Mauchline Ware in the UK,
Oh, of course, that's
especially
where it's made. I mean,
both on Etsy and eBay. I mean, obviously it's produced over there. The problem is though, these are items like I buy books fairly frequently, from book places in the UK, and they have the book rate. Book rate is so much different than just shipping you something.
mhm.
Because, and I mean, I guess it's really the same thing with our postal service. In some cases, some of the items I've looked at, the shipping costs more than the item itself.
Yeah. No,
And it's an item from 1860, right?
this one's from Midlothian, Virginia. So I've got a friend that
Oh,
lives over there. Yeah, so
yeah, very close to where I went to school.
um so yeah, you can try that. Now, the other things I've got to show you here, which are quite a few things, is the thing dealers are doing now, which I love. And I don't know this dealer personally, Day Trip Treasures. She's in Maine. I don't know that I've purchased from her before, but I do watch her stuff on social media. Um she and many other dealers that have, Shopify sites and stuff, they have a category on their site now called archive, and they archive all the items that they've sold, which is a researcher's gold mine, even if their descriptions are accurate, because, and I'm not saying that the dealer's not accurate, but you definitely have dealers, like let's say we've got something listed as an Amish Mennonite. you know, that's not an accurate description. You're not both of those things. And also we can't know you're either of those things unless we know who made the quilt. Um, so, but if you did like an image search that pulled this up and you know what you're looking at, then this can still be very valuable. So I really love this. So all of these other things I'm going to show you are sold items from this person who clearly also bought, you know, a lot of Mauchline from an estate sale somewhere. But yeah, she had some really cool stuff. Like, look at this thread ball.
Yeah, that thread ball is really cool. And I just you had or have or had one of those. I know that it
I've
was
had
snapped
one.
up by another individual immediately
Yeah,
in our midst. I was
it
like, dang it, why
never, yeah, it never saw the
why'd
light
she
of
get
day.
to look first?
But yeah, the fact that that you know, this has, you know, she's got the measurements on here. She even has her sold price still on here. That's all such like useful information. So she's saying this one was for Coats crochet cotton, which and but then calling it a string holder. Hmm. And she's also dated it
It
to
could
the
be both. I
1930s.
mean, it could be both.
She's also dated it to 1930, which I don't know. This other like big Mauchline book that I have that's a tome, for all I know, maybe it has some dates in there that make it easy to date that stuff. But I thought that was really cool because I didn't have one to show. So I was going to show that one. This one was very interesting. Um
There's
interesting.
another bowling pin.
It's interesting too that she's calling them treenware, even though this would be like the transfer wear.
Well,
Um,
but Treenware again is just that umbrella term.
right. Well, and that's what I mean. Like, I'm surprised she'd choose that one
Hmm.
and instead of like a Mauchline photo transfer kind of a thing. Anywho, it's just observation. But yes, this one is shaped oddly. It's like a beer bottle almost. And it's a sewing little another little sewing kit like the ones I had shown where you know, you put your thimble on top and you've got your thread spools in there and you put your needles in this hole right here. But yeah, like who decided how these would be shaped?
Yeah, there's probably some committee that's like, hey, everything's going to be shaped like a bowling pin today, y'all. Switch the machines to bowling pin.
Yeah, like is it is it like so that like because these things, at least in my experience so far, they close pretty tightly. So I'm like, and I let's see, 3 inches tall. So I mean like it's pretty small. But like is the goal for this kind of shape that you can like pick it up and like hit a bug over the head?
Well, I did mention earlier that the area there, Mauchline Ayrshire, they, I think, still are, well, that area there, there's uh, oh gosh, a company called, I think it's K's. Um, they make curling stones.
Like for the
They're the
game
only,
curling?
yes, they are the only remaining producer of curling stones in the UK.
That's
And
because
and
no
it's
one
right out.
wants to do curling.
But I mean, when you look at like games that involve throwing heavy objects, you've got curling stones, you've got bowling pins. I mean, it's
I
in
guess
the
it
water
makes
there.
sense. Here is a cute little lot that she sold. Um, I let's see, I probably come across this piece right here most often.
The double-ended thing.
Yeah, I don't come across these box top pieces very often. I feel like maybe if I do, the pincushion's long gone.
Hmm.
And this one here is really cute. See, like this little, it's a little top, and it's another one of those little sewing. That one looks like it might just hold. Yeah, that one's just the thimble holder. That's quite a lot for just a thimble holder. I'm surprised they didn't hollow this out at least because you could probably put some needles in there.
Oh, yeah.
Why weren't we in the design room? And then let's see. Can I zoom into this? Is there? Oh, no. Can I? Oh, no. That's not what I want to do. Darn. I was trying to look at the hinges here to see how they were, like what
Oh, if they were those same
stamp
little
ones they have on it.
ornate, yeah, the ornate hinges.
Yeah, apparently I cannot look. This, because I didn't have any like needle cases or anything. Um, she's got this needle case with a double-ended bone crochet hook. Um, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, she said it came with it. Could it have fit in there?
Maybe.
Huh. United
I
States
think these
Government Building, World's Columbian Exposition, Chicago, 1893.
oh, that's the big World's Fair.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think what's fascinating about these little things is they're so tiny, and
Mm-hmm.
to hollow that out, I mean, again, it's there's a machine that does it, but nonetheless, it still makes the wood is, thin and brittle, I guess. It
And
would
I
probably
mean,
be
it's
easy to,
work. It's work.
yeah, it would probably be easy to like mess one up, in the manufacturing of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we've got this one. This one was pretty. It's needle case. It's one of the, because it's got like this like really ornate like wreath around just the general picture. I thought that was really cool. There really is like no end to like President Grant's cottage long branch.
Ah, it's interesting, you kind of wonder, was it the the souvenir destination, so this cottage or whatever, were they the ones that kind of designed it? Like they're like, oh, we want some needle cases and we want to stamp the picture of the cottage and then we want to wreath around it. Or was there just somebody at the factory that was like, okay, we've got some orders for this place and here's what they're going to look like? Like how did
Yeah,
they decide these things?
yeah. I
Because I mean, today you'd have a whole like graphic design department and a product, engineer, but I don't know how they did those things back then.
I thought this little pink cushion was really cute.
The little bucket is adorable. I did see that one. I try not to read ahead with your links, but I did see that one.
You are so fired. So this one is Old Spanish Fort and Moat, St. Augustine.
So Florida,
Mm-hmm.
huh?
It's got a little crack and repair. But yeah, I've never seen one of those out in the wild. There's just so many. This was so cool. This one is like the original, like never been touched. So 1880s
Oh,
to 1910s, Mauchline Ware, JP and Coats thread box with original thread never used.
wow. And that's the kind of thing, like I feel like today it's those special edition, gift box kind of products that you see. Sometimes it's, you see needlework stuff like that, but a lot of times like it's like the kind of stuff you see during the holidays, right?
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, yeah, and it says right on
that
the
feels like what that might be.
spool
Yeah.
cotton and crochet. Yeah, that is just so
Fancy.
cool. And let's see, she 138. I would say it would be worth that. I would pay that for this, having never been used. I feel like the
Yeah.
only time we get to see something like this is in an old ad.
Right? Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And then last but not least, look at this little pin disc that's
Is it
on
a little
the little,
stool?
yeah,
Yes, the
little
little
three-legged
stool.
stool. Which, it's so interesting because, like, so pin keeps, right? You're holding this and you're putting the pins in the side. But if it's on a stool, you don't need the ability to like get close to it like that. So I'm surprised they would choose to put the pin keep on the stool, which now takes more effort for you to put the pin in the cushion instead of just making the top of the thing, like the whole stool, the pin cushion.
Well, herein, when woodworkers are the ones deciding how the little piece comes together and not needleworkers.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where that is.
Yeah. So that is the end of our shenanigans for today. There's a lot of shenanigans.
They really were.
Yeah. Um,
I think probably one of the weirdest pieces I saw as I was just looking around online was the glove stretchers. And it took me a really long time to figure out what those were. And I finally was like, oh, My gosh, that's what they are. But they look like a curling iron almost, like
Yeah,
a
they
tiny
kind of
curling
do.
iron.
Yeah.
But it's like a clippy thing at one end, and the other end is sort of like a rounded. I mean, that's why it looks like a curling iron. And then I guess you put it inside a glove and kind of pinch it to stretch it open.
Mm-hmm.
You can get those in tartanware and transferware.
Oh, I mean, that
Um,
makes sense.
yeah.
I
And I guess
actually,
my big reveal that I have a link, but I'm not going to show it because I'm bidding on it, is the seaweed, a seaweed and shellware, which everything I've seen is like, oh, it's like this subcategory of the fernware, but it doesn't look like the fernware. It just they're pictures of seaweed and seaweed. Like, it's just and they're on the pieces. And if you look at that Piecework magazine article, that the writer of that has like 4 pieces from her collection there, and I'm like,
I
interesting.
I just realized real quick that I had one more piece of weirdness on my table
Oh,
here that I pulled out. The reason I pulled it out is because of the transferware on it is so interesting. So one of the common pieces to find are these like little like card holders
mm-hmm.
for, because everyone back
Calling
then
cards.
calling cards
Yeah.
and stuff.
I saw one
And
for postcards too.
yeah, it has some blank like note card things in it. Uh,
How cool.
Uh-oh, is Stephanie like, maybe there's another piece I want. Wait till I show you the front.
Yeah,
Um,
I was gonna say, did you bring this one? Did
no,
I just not
no,
even look
this
at
is
the
a weird
okay.
one. So, and on the back here, it says, made of wood from Stirling Castle and brought in the Douglas room. I'm sorry, and bought in the Douglas room. And then, it has a little, saying on here, ye towers within whose circuit dread? A Douglas by his, oh, I can't, some of it like, I can't read it. Something bled. Uh,
Okay.
I Douglas his sovereign bled. I think it says something like that. But anywho, look at this pretty lady.
Oh, is that like Mary Queen of Scots or something?
Maybe it doesn't say who she is.
No, but I feel like I've seen a painting or a picture of her like looking kind of like that
Yeah,
with
I mean a reverse
her
image
ruff.
search would probably do good. But yeah, she's so regal and delightful and stuff. Should
I'm
I
kind of liking this piece.
uh
Maybe you should put that aside with with one of the little strangers, and just remember to let my mom know how much she owes you for my birthday present. Because
you
that's how
said
cake rolls.
I was gonna say you said pick one of the little strangers. You picked a very specific little stranger, just to remind you. Actually, I do have one of these card holders too that is a fernware. It's just totally different and is only fernware. It doesn't have this like gorgeous lady on it. But anywho, I digress.
I'm kind of liking the lady,
Yeah,
but
I digress. I just saw that last minute, was like, oh my God, I forgot to show this one. Anywho, so as to let everyone know, because we didn't mention it at the top of the show, next month's Needlework Nights is going to be tape measures. And
measures.
I figured, because sometimes when we're doing things, like pin cushions or something, we narrow it down to like a particular type. I feel like I don't really want to do that this time
Okay.
because there's so many different tape measures. I don't have a
Yeah.
ton, but I have many different kinds. So I think that retractable ones are game. I think that like loose, like silk or other ones are
Uh-huh.
game. I
Okay.
kind of think like anything, you know, that would be
Okay.
considered like a tape measure can be
Yeah,
game.
that works for me.
Yeah.
I've got many of those different types. I have more of the just loose ones than
Hmm.
I do the retractables, but I do have like a bizarre amount of the of random retractable ones that are just, souvenir ones.
Well,
That
I just recently got a new retractable. I recently got a loose one, like I just things to say. And then I was going to say that the date for next month, I want to say in this moment is probably like tentatively like the 16th. There's 5 Wednesdays next month, so I'll be right smack in the middle. I say
Okay.
tentatively just because Stephanie and I have some things going on. Like there's some events and things. So I won't like put that date in stone yet until like we make the actual schedule and stuff like that. But just
Yeah,
remember.
I was gonna say the 16th might be because that's right up against something you and I are planning. And
Mhm.
so it could move, I guess, in either direction, but probably the
Yeah,
23rd.
I would say either it could go like a week early or a week late, but
Yeah.
just watch out for when we make the schedule because by then we should know who we are and where we're going that month.
Well, we will finally have recaptured use of the English language.
You know, don't make promises for me that I'm not sure that I can keep. But yeah, we've gone over tonight. This is why we started a little early because we know we could go over. But I think this is a good place to say goodnight. I'll put all kinds of links to stuff in the description. So like come back for that.
Get yourself some Mauchline Ware, y'all.
And yes, if I showed anything that anyone is interested in, by all means, you can reach out to me. My business page is linked in the bottom, or you can contact me on quiltnerding@gmail.com if that's easier. You know all the places to find us. Thanks so much for coming, Jan. We're so
Yeah.
glad that you liked it.
Yeah, I'm glad we introduced one of our friends to something they didn't know about. So I love that.
Yes. If you didn't know you needed to spend money on this, well, now you do.
Or you know what? If you're just a window shopper, go out and window shop. You will find this stuff everywhere. It's like you didn't know it existed. You finally do. You'll see it everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it. I'm off to Maine in the morning for a few days, so
No,
don't
safe
forget
travels. And yeah,
don't forget
I'll
to
be
watch
back.
Stephanie on her stream at 2 o'clock on her Twitch.
Thank you, as I was about to say. Yeah. So have a great evening, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye.